Hello and welcome to Thoughts Can Heal podcast. I am your host, Denise Lynn, and I'm so grateful that you're taking a few minutes out of your special day to spend with me. All right, so I'm kind of laughing because this is my second attempt to record. I record from my home, and I have a couple dogs, and they were being so good. So I thought, okay, this is a perfect time. No one's home. Let me jump on and record something. And of course, bark, 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 bark. So if you do hear my dogs in the background, I do apologize. All right. Welcome. Again, I'm just so grateful that you're taking a few minutes out of your day. So usually when I come on and do these podcasts, if you're new to this podcast, I start by sharing an experience or something that's really been beneficial in my life that's either helped me calm my nervous system down or has changed my perception about abundance. And I love talking about manifestation and all kinds of things like that. And at the end, I always end with a couple deep breaths and just a little soothing breath work to end. But today I want to start with some breath work. So as long as you're not driving, and even if you are driving, you could do this, just don't close your eyes. And you really don't have to close your eyes if you're not driving, but you do want to sit up straight, relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, unclench your jaw. So many of us keep our jaws clenched and we don't even realize we're doing it. All right, we're going to do the physiological side today. And basically what that is 2 sips of air in through the nose and a long extended exhale out of the mouth. And we're going to do that 5 times. So it goes something like inhale, extra sip, long exhale out. Like a sigh of relief. Again, deep breath in, extra sip, long exhale out. Inhale, extra sip, exhale. 2 more times at your own pace. Last one. Exhale out. All right. If you're not familiar with that type of breath, it is so powerful. It is one of the things that works in real time to help calm the nervous system. It can help if you're in a stressful situation, maybe experiencing some panic, whether it's a panic attack, an anxiety, maybe if you have an anxiety disorder, or even if you don't have any of those things and you just want to lower your stress hormones and bring some peace to your mind. That's the tool. Oh, there goes my dog. I'm glad he didn't bark while we were doing that. All right, so let's see. A couple of things I wanted to talk about today. And particularly, I would like to talk about meditation. And I am a registered and certified yoga instructor and meditation teacher. And I'm currently in continuing education to be certified as a yoga nidra guide. So I always get, not always, but oftentimes I'll hear from my students that they just can't meditate. And they'll say, I know the health benefits are wonderful, which they are, but I just can't seem to quiet my mind enough. And it always makes me so sad when I hear this. And I understand it because even still, some days I'm on and the mind's a lot quieter. But even like this morning, and I think this is why I'm talking about it today, I had a really hard time in my meditation practice. And I'm here to tell you that it is perfectly normal. Don't give up. Eventually the mind will quiet enough that you can get into a meditative state. But the whole goal of meditation isn't, that you can only do it if your mind is quiet. The goal of meditation is to help you quiet your mind. And our minds are never completely quiet, ever. Even when we're sleeping, there's thoughts that are being processed in our subconscious mind. It's just impossible. And so many of the people that have said this to me are people that could really, really benefit from a daily meditation practice. So I'm going to give you a few tips, things that have helped me. And I hope that if anybody's listening that has tried meditation and just felt like they couldn't do it because their thoughts were racing, I just want you to know you're not alone. And even if you can only sit for one moment, even with the thoughts going, it's going to help you. Of course, the longer the better. 5 to 15 minutes of just sitting quietly. And what you're going to do is when you sit in a comfortable position, hopefully in a quiet place, but then again, you can also meditate, on a train or, in listening to busy traffic go by. Once you get experience enough with it, you can be in louder situations and just kind of drop into a meditative state. But what I would recommend to anybody that's having a hard time with the thoughts, the racing mind, or like I like to call it the monkey mind, the monkey chatter, become aware. Be aware that those thoughts are there. But imagine them like clouds, poofy white clouds in a big blue sky that are just passing by. So imagine those thoughts, each one. Just watch it, understand it's there, just don't entertain it. In other words, basically, that comes in, you say, okay, you're there. I'm not going to attach to you. And just let it fade off, because they do. And then another one comes and you do the same thing. You just use that analogy. They're just like clouds passing by. And the longer you sit and do this, the quieter the mind gets. And the more peaceful you begin to feel. And you will reap all the amazing benefits from a meditation practice. And there are way too many for me to even get into. But I just wanted to bring that up in case anybody's been, wanting to start a practice or has tried several times but just have given up because they think that they can't do it because of their racing thoughts. I just wanted to jump on here today and say, you certainly can. And it's okay. Like I said this morning, and I've been practicing meditation for many, 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 many years. And it happened to me. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get up. And then I'm like, wait a second. No, you're not. You're going to sit here, even if it's uncomfortable, and just not attach to the thoughts. And that's what we end up doing. And a lot of times, well, I've mentioned this before, psychologists tell us that we have nearly 60,000 thoughts per day. 60,000. And most of them are repetitive thoughts. They're thoughts that we had the day before, or even sometimes months before, especially if we're holding a grudge or something like that, which I highly recommend you don't do. But that's for another podcast. Actually, I have several on forgiveness and letting go and why it's so important. Not for the other person, but for you and your peace of mind. So, yeah, we have all these thoughts, and we have so much information that we are feeding ourselves. And that's another thing I would love to stress right now. I have been being extremely careful of the content that I'm allowing to consume. And, a lot of times we think about our health, we watch what we're eating, we watch what we're doing, but we don't pay attention to what we're feeding our minds. And right now in our world, we're overwhelmed with information. With the internet, something happens around the world, we find out about it within seconds. And we weren't built to handle all of this information. And I know I've mentioned it in other podcasts. I believe that's why there is so much stress and so much anxiety. Because back hundreds of years ago, even less, anyhow, you only knew what was going on in your village. Our ancestors, if something happened in a faraway village, it probably took a long time for anybody to find out. Somebody would have to travel, which could have taken a year. So in any case, our minds were not built to consume all of this information. And there's so much negative information out there. And that's because people buy it. Unfortunately, we do have something that's called a negativity bias. But the thing is that there's also so much good. And there's so much good content that you can be filling your brain with, whether it's, religious shows, podcasts, self-help podcasts like this one, spiritual teachers, whatever. You can find it. And even humor. Laughter, it is the best medicine. So, if you could find something funny, not gross funny, but just silly and funny, that's going to help you reduce stress and have peace of mind. And that is all of our goals. It is happiness and peace of mind and freedom. That's what we all want. And we can achieve it if we spend more time in nature, more time in either prayer, meditation, and disconnecting from all the social media and all. And I'm not saying it's terrible. I use it, but just being very careful of what you are allowing into your beautiful brain, especially first thing in the morning and the last thing at night. Because at those times, we're in a state called alpha state, and it's like the doorway to our subconscious. So if we go to bed watching something scary or listening to world news, even though we shut off, our brain didn't. So it absorbed all that, and it's processing it. And when you wake up the next day, you're still going to be in that vibration of whatever it was that you were consuming the night before. And the same thing for the first thing in the morning. You're in alpha state, and so your subconscious is so susceptible. That's why it's so important not to grab your phone, but to, sit in gratitude for a few minutes before you do anything. As soon as you wake up, just, whether it's just grateful that you woke up, grateful that the sun's shining, grateful for your pillow, your blanket, whatever it is, start your morning in gratitude, and you'll be amazed at the difference it makes in the quality of your day. All right, well, that's today's podcast. I hope that this information has helped you, and I hope that the physiological sigh comes in handy. I want you to put that in your toolbox. If you're ever feeling stressed, do that for a few minutes. It is scientifically proven to reduce the stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, that course through our bodies when we're stressed out and anxious. And in today's world, I think it's really important that we have tools such as these that we can use anywhere, anytime, that are free. All right, my friends, take care. Until next time, namaste.